C'est un peu triste de dire ça comme ça, mais je pense que la dernière fois que j'ai vu ma mère, que je verrai ma mère, du coup, la dernière fois que j'ai définitivement vu ma mère,
last time
voilà,
I definitely saw my mom was when I was 9. It's very sad to say that. It might be the last time I'll see her.
Déjà, du coup, là, ça fait le 8e anniversaire
It's the 8th birthday without her. It sucks, but that's the way it is.
The fight for peace and freedom always comes with a price. For Narges Mohammadi, it has cost her a life in prison far away from her children. For Kiana and Ali, this sacrifice has meant a life without their mother. But tonight, they're here with us to honor Narges Mohammadi, a Peace Prize winner who loves music and who loves to sing. And during the celebration tonight, international and Norwegian artists are going to play beautiful music, accompanied and led by the Norwegian Radio Orchestra. Kiana and Ali, welcome. So glad to have you here with us tonight. How have the last couple of days been for you, Kiana?
Les derniers jours étaient assez mouvementés. J'ai pas l'habitude d'avoir
The last days have been a little bit in turmoil. I don't usually have so many things packed in one day. It's been extremely touching, very informative. I've learned a lot, and I think the moment I preferred most was to meet Mrs. Race Anderson, because the way she thinks, she reminds me of my mother. And the second event where I was really touched was when we met the children. They asked us questions, we shook hands, and we received some small.
Yeah, and that was the Peace Prize concert that the kids made for you yesterday. How was it for you, Ali?
Pour moi, c'était sûrement l'événement le plus émouvant.
It was also the most moving moment, the warmest moment, and I'll never forget it. In Iran, it's completely different. Young people, children in Iran, they have to fight for their rights. But what I've seen in Norway is incredible. I've seen people from all faiths, somebody with a hijab who was sitting next to somebody wearing a T-shirt. Somebody said hello to me, another said hi, another said salam alaikum. And this living together is incredible. I think everybody can learn from this, and I hope that one day Iran can look like Norway.
And it's been, as you said, Kiana, quite hectic the last couple of days. I guess it's quite different from your normal life in Paris, where you live in exile with your father. You haven't seen your mother for many years. She's in prison. You're 17 years old now. How will you describe the feeling of being far away from your mother for this long?
J'aimerais commencer tout d'abord par dire
First, I would like to say that I've gotten used to the idea and this situation. Of course, I miss her. She's my mother. But I came to terms with it. She's fighting for a better future. I'm proud of her, because at the end of the day, democracy, the rights of women and liberty, they don't have a price. And I think it's wonderful that she's fighting for.
How do you remember the last day you saw your mother, Ali?
La dernière fois que j'ai vu ma mère, c'était un journée.
Last time I saw her, it was a very normal morning. It looked like every other morning, and I was getting ready for school. My mother said, hurry up and finish your breakfast. The taxi is downstairs, and I'll see you tonight. But when I came home on that day, my mother wasn't there. She had been taken to prison. She had been taken by.
And we know that in prison she lives under very strict restrictions, but she is able to smuggle out messages to you and to the world. And we actually asked her how she remembers the last time she saw the two of you. Unfortunately, I don't speak Persian, but my colleague Ayda Khurami does, and she is now going to read out parts of Narges Mohammadi's answer. This is what she replied.
اگر زندان را از درهای قلبم ببینم If I am in prison, I look at my heart and I see that for my son and my daughter was more than a stranger, and I have lost many of the years of my life, and what has been lost does not come back. But I prefer that instead of being a spectator in the streets of Tehran and see the mothers, the women, and the children who are searching in the garbage to find something to eat, and instead of being oppressed by the regime, and instead of becoming a mother, I prefer not to see my children for so many years, not to even see their voice, but to see the voice of the innocent women and the children who are oppressed in my country. Although in view of many people, I am a non-mother.
Kiana, how is it to hear your mother's response?
La réponse a été assez particulière.
The answer had been particular. I have not used to see my mother so emotional. It was very touching for me. And every time I hear her voice, I'm motivated to be stronger, to fight for the cause. And every time I can hear her words, what she's speaking, it gives me a lot of strength. So yes, I'm pretty moved right now. What my mother is saying is completely true, and I don't believe my mother abandoned us to fight her cause. I believe it's the opposite. She's fighting with a lot of determination, with courage for me, for my sister, so that we, in the future, we will have the same rights. So that her children can live in a democratic and free country. So these words, we are not disappointed, we completely accept it. We are very proud of our mother because we know that she's partly fighting for us.
And your mother is very, very brave. Many of the artists that are here to honor her tonight are of Iranian descent. Amanda Delara is one of Norway's most popular pop artists, and she's Iranian and Norwegian. She also is an activist who fights for freedom and democracy in Iran. Please welcome Amanda Delara and the Norwegian Radio Orchestra led by Narges Mohammadi.
چشم من بیا منو یاری بکن گناهام خشکیده شد کاری بکن غیر گریه مگه کاری میشه کرد کاری از ما نمیاد زاری بکن اون که رفته دیگه هیچ وقت نمیاد تا قیامت دل من گریه میخواد چشم من بیا And even in the city of God, whatever that comes will go. Where I'm from, freedom comes in diamonds and gold, but you could never have it all. Whatever that comes will go. Bless the source of diamonds, different drugs, my vices, trophies hurting all my visions. They say freedom's priceless. Don't let these chains change me. Really the struggle made me. 100K, that's crazy. 4 days can change a nation, yeah. Once you get all you want, are you good? Yeah. Or are you chasing success for the lose? Yeah. Oh, the world has left me as ghosts. And even in the city of God, whatever that comes will go. Where I'm from, freedom comes in diamonds and gold, but you could never have it all. Whatever that comes will go. Ain't it supposed to make it easy? Too bad it never freed me. We haunted by yesterday's demons, wounded city still bleeding. Water ain't holy, it's polluted. You a slave to your jeweler. That's how it goes. Money make the rules. Oh, the world has left me as ghosts. And even in the city of God, whatever that comes will go. Where I'm from, freedom comes in diamonds and gold, but you could never have it all. Whatever that comes will go.
San, zindagi, azadi. Women, life, freedom. The Norwegian Nobel Committee has decided to award the Nobel Peace Prize to Narges Mohammadi for her fight against the oppression of women in Iran and her fight to promote human rights and freedom for all.
کشتن فرزندان این سرزمین زیر شکنجه ضرب و شتم ممنوع است.
Her brave struggle
has come with tremendous personal cost. Altogether, the regime has arrested her 13 times, convicted her 5 times, and sentenced her to a total of 31 years in prison and 154 lashes. Ms. Mohammadi is still in prison as I speak. In September 2022, a young Kurdish woman, Angelina Jordan, was killed in the custody of the Iranian morality police. Under the slogan, Woman, Life, Freedom, hundreds of thousands of Iranians took part in peaceful protests against the authorities' brutality and oppression of women. The regime cracked hard down on the protests. More than 500 demonstrators were killed. Thousands were injured. The motto adopted by the demonstrators, Woman, Life, Freedom, suitably expresses the dedication and work of Narges Mohammadi. Woman, she fights for women against systematic discrimination and oppression. Life, she supports women's struggle for the right to live full and dignified lives. Freedom, she fights for freedom of expression and the right to independence and against rules requiring women to remain out of sight and cover up their bodies.
Ali, your mother has become a symbol for the fight in Iran and these protests. How has she been mobilizing from within the prison?
Alors moi personnellement, depuis que je suis arrivé en France,
Personally, since I've come to France, I follow very closely what's happening in Iran. I still have a very strong relationship with my country. I love France. France is a wonderful country, but I was born in Iran and I'm still very attached to Iran. So I'm following very closely what's happening in Iran. And when the movement Women, Life, Freedoms started, I was very happy. I was very young and I thought the regime would fall and we would all go back to Iran and we would live in freedom. And I ran to my father and I said, look, Daddy, there's a revolution and we are going to go back to Iran. And he laughed and he said, look, Ali, maybe one day we can go back, but it's not going to be now. But if you want so strongly to go there, you have to act, you have to be an activist, you have to be the voice of your mother and of the political.
And we've also seen pictures of women taking off their hijab, cutting off their hair. How much of this fight and these protests that we've seen is actually about the hijab?
Le hijab obligatoire, c'est un moyen de
hijab is a control, it's a means of control. Like my mother said, it's not a religious obligation. It's not cultural. It's just a way of controlling women in Iran. And if we manage to get rid of this law, the mandatory hijab, then we will uproot tyranny.
Comme ma mère l'a précisé et mon frère actuellement.
My mother and my brother said, hijab is a choice. So you need to take away this mandatory hijab notion in Iran. We women are free to wear what we want or not to wear what we don't want to wear. And that's why my mother is fighting. That's what she's fighting for. It's a very noble cause. I can see that in Iran we have to wear hijab whether we want it or not. And I hope that one day women in Iran will have the choice of wearing or not hijab and to take away that men.
And there are many here tonight that want to honor this cause. One of them is international star Angelina Jordan. She has come all the way from Los Angeles.
your love. I need your love. Godspeed your love to me. Lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the sea, to the open arms of the sea. Yeah, lonely rivers sigh, wait for me, wait for me. I'll be coming up, wait for me. Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your time. Lonely time.
Narges Mohammadi's activism began at a young age. It was during her university years that she founded several women's rights groups. And it was also during this period that she met her husband, Taghi Rahmani. Welcome, Mr. Rahmani. Much like Narges, you are a political activist, and much like Narges, you've also been in and out of prison in Iran. How will you describe life as a political activist in prison?
Prison is not a good place. That's a fact. But in my country, there are two kind of prisons: those who perpetrate crime and those want to, in a way, stop crimes against humanity. So civil political activists must not be in prison. But unfortunately, the most difficult prisons in Iran are where they keep political prisoners. In the 4 decades of the past, I have been in and out of prison. And in the 1980s, it was the worst period for political prisoners, and I was in prison then. And it was very difficult for me to endure it, and now, as it is now. We witnessed forced confessions, torture, and all kinds of deprivations. But I have to tell you, many Iranian people, they may not be virtually in prison, but they're in a bigger prison, which is they are prisoners of the regime, and they are being watched all the time. They're being monitored all the time. In your country, technology is used to make life more comfortable for people, but unfortunately, my country.
And the Iranian regime will, of course, deny these allegations. We know that Narges Mohammadi has been struggling with her health. She's on a hunger strike. How much do you worry about her well-being?
Look, in a despotic authoritarian regime, if they deny all this, what else can they do? they are used for lying. It's a mendacious regime, and they even teach others how to lie. Despotism, as Narges used to say in her letters, despotism is not just about political oppression, is to corrupt society, is to undermine the confidence of the people, is to demolish families, to destroy families. Yes, of course I worry about the health of Narges. Yes, emotionally one thinks about their own immediate family. That's natural. But I'm also worried about anonymous prisoners. We have in prison 2 or 3 people who are either they die because they don't receive any medical treatment. Look, of course we think about our own families, but when you know that there are so many people who have no voice, who no one knows that they are in prison, you know, and of course Narges has always tried from within prison to be a voice for such prisoners such as Zainab Jalalian, who is been in prison for many, many years and has not been able to contact anyone outside.
Life in prison is hard in Iran, Ali, as we've heard. Do you think that your mother could have chosen a different path? Could she have fought from this cause from exile like your father does?
Alors, mon père a quitté l'Iran en 2012.
My father left Iran in 2012. He left the country because he couldn't stay there. He was going to be jailed again, and the regime wanted to silence him forever. So he begged my mother to come with him, and my mother refused because she believes that somebody has to stay in Iran and lead the struggle on the ground. And my father accepted that. He always defended my mother. And of course we would rather have her with us, but we know that she's fighting for a just and noble cause. And my mother is not the only one to fight for this cause. There are many other women, many, who are, unfortunately, some of them died, some of them we don't know where they are. She's one of these women, we don't know where she is. And my mother is always trying to fight for these women, and we are satisfied to be able to speak about our mother with pride, and we hope that we can do that for all others.
Kiana, do you sometimes wish that your mother had chosen a different path so the 4 of you could be together as a family?
Comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure,
as I said earlier, of course I would like her to be with me in order to help me put some good makeup on, with personal hygiene as well, because when you grow up, when you're a girl, during puberty, you need your mother. But that was not possible. And of course, I have thought about alternative lives we could have had together. But this is the question then. If we'd had another life, what would Iran have become? And it would be a disaster. That's the answer. So she needs to stay there. She needs to stay there to fight on the ground, to fight the problem at its core. And as my brother said, we need to stand united because nobody can achieve anything alone. For me, the best life we could have had is the one we are living. Of course, there is a lot of sadness, but I will always be proud of my mother, of all the female activists who are fighting for freedom, democracy, and my mother's fighting for women's rights in Iran.
And I can see that your father is very proud of you. And despite the fact that you miss your mother and you miss your wife, I know that you've created a good life together in Paris. And in a bit, we're going to see a glimpse of that life. And we're also going to see why Kiana and Ali called their dad a Disney dad. But now we're going to get some more music. And I know that many Iranians have been looking forward to our next performance. Mahsa Vadat is a celebrated artist in Iran, but she's not allowed to sing there as a woman. Despite this, and from exile, she continues her fight for freedom of expression.
خوشخوان پرگشا بر گلشن مژگان ما خورشید شب در چشم ما مهتاب در آواز ما مهتاب در آواز ما خوشخوان پرگشا بر گلشن مژگان ما خورشید شب در چشم ما مهتاب در آواز ما مهتاب در آواز ما ستاره روز و شب از پهنه این کهکشان بارد ستاره روز و شب از پهنه این کهکشان گر اختری تابد بشب گر اختری تابد بشب از ساحل دلهای ما از ساحل دلهای ما صدها قناری در میان امن از نوای عاشقان پر میکشند در آسمان با نغمه فردای ما با نغمه فردای ما
En fait, on entend beaucoup, parce qu'en fait, c'est un rond-point, on entend beaucoup de bruit, mais on s'y habitue.
You hear a lot of things. It's very loud because it's a roundabout, but you get used to it.
No, because we have a tram, metro, and bus. and car. So
and all the lights.
Yes. Yeah. All times. Ici, on étudie, on va au lycée.
Here we go to school, we go to high school, we have a beautiful life, I really can't complain, we have enough to eat, we have a roof over our head, we have fun with our family and we have our father, so that is something. And I hope, even if I don't quite believe it, that we can all four be together. My father is a real Disney dad. He's extraordinary.
It's him.
Il est vrai que sans notre mère, il y a une grande
It's true
manque.
that without our mother, well, there's a big hole missing, but my sister's always been here for me, even when my father wasn't there and none of them were there, so that really helped me go forward.
Me and him. Him, I'm sorry.
Tu peux le dire.
Very bad.
Do you agree? Do you agree? Is your food
With
very
I
bad?
said.
Yes,
You cook
it's
very
true.
But we really love him. Yeah. He's an angel and I'm a devil. He's so sweet and me, I'm a...
Non, rien, t'inquiète. C'est un peu- c'est juste un petit truc.
In this picture we can see my mother tired me and my brother, but after this picture we are so happy. For me this picture is my home because when I see this picture I not see this but my home in Iran. And for me this is not my home is in Iran, this home. C'est un peu triste de dire ça comme ça, mais je pense que la dernière fois que j'ai vu
It's a little bit sad to say it like this, but I think the last time I saw my mother was the last time I will see my mother. So I think it's the last time I've seen her. And I was 9. It's very sad to say so because you know, it's the 8th birthday without her. It sucks, but that's the way it is.
Ah, c'est là.
I found
This
it.
is my book, 10 minutes.
You draw a lot. This is like your passion, your hobby.
This is my hobbies because my uncle drawing everything and he drawing very well. I love this. So when I was a kid, I always showed him like this.
It's been a long time since you saw your uncle. Do you miss him?
Du coup, comme j'ai dit, depuis 2016,
Like I said, since 2016-17 was the last time I saw him, and I really miss him. And I'm looking forward to going to Norway because it's for the prize, but I'm also going to see someone from my family. I'm so happy to see him for some time. It's great.
And now you're finally here with your uncle who actually lives in Norway. How was it to see him again, Kiana?
Quand je suis rentrée du coup dans la Grand Hôtel, quand on est descendu.
When I stepped into the Grand Hotel, we got off the car. I walked into the hotel. First, I saw the director, the hotel director, and I wanted to greet her and to thank her. But then I saw my uncle, and I couldn't help it. I ran to him and I hugged him, and I think I stayed there for like 10 minutes. So maybe that was a little bit rude, but I really couldn't help it. I hadn't seen him for such a long time. He's a very discreet person. He was standing next to her, but we saw him, and as soon as we saw him, we ran to him, and we hadn't seen him for...
He was just waiting for you to come. Narges Mohammadi, how was it to see Kiana and Ali again after all these years?
As Ali said, it was 5-6 years ago when I saw them. They were much shorter than me, and then I saw them arriving from the airport. I was waiting at the hotel entrance, and then I was thinking about greeting some other people, but when I saw Ali and Kiana just ran to me and hugged me, I just forgot everything about the world. It was one of the best moments of my life.
That's so touching.
Yes.
And you actually have a very special relationship. You used to live with Kiana and Ali when they were kids.
Yes.
How was that life?
It was full of joy, and also we had to share work because they were twins, and Narges couldn't give milk bottles to both of them at the same time, and couldn't just wake up every time both of them, each of them cried. So we decided that Narges could take Ali, and I would take Kiana to give bottles of milk, and when they wake up, to calm them down. So Kiana was my friend and kept me awake sometimes at night, and I gave her milk.
So you were like an extra dad for Kiana and Ali, and that also, you helping Narges and Taghi Rahmani with this also contributed so Narges could go out and do her activism.
Most of the time, yes. She worked as an engineer, and then she had to also do activism. So when we came back, we would share the work, and then she would have more time to go to do what was necessary to be done. And usually, yes, we played together, and I used to play computer games, and Ellie loved it. And we drew and painted together with Kian.
Do you remember anything of this, Ali?
Oui, bien sûr, je me souviens extrêmement bien.
Yes, of course, I remember really well. He was always forbidding me to play video games because they were not especially violent, but they were for older kids. And when my uncle was sleeping, I went onto his computer and I was trying to find the password in order to play his games. And once I never did that again.
See, you were naughty. You've also told me that sometimes Narges, you had a lot of fun, but sometimes Narges also wouldn't come home for dinner because she got arrested.
Yes. When it happened, I had to make food and keep children busy until their bedtime, and it was something that had to be done because there was no other choice.
And she has also been an inspiration for you. You've worked together in the same human rights organization, which actually led to that you had to flee from Iran and move to Norway. You live here in exile. You've worked together, you've grown up together. Has she always been this brave?
Yes, because as far as I remember, she was always trying to help people, even when she was the first year or second year of high school. There was a terrible earthquake, and then she was very young, but she volunteered to go and help the people injured there. So she was, from the first years of that I can clearly remember, she was always active, and by studying, by knowing more about the society, she became more engaged. And she has always been very tough and loving at the same time, but in the face of oppression, she has always been courageous and tough. And when thinking about humans and suffering, she was always loving and caring. And I see the same thing in Ali and Kiana.
Let's indeed hope that this prize that has led you here to Oslo will lead to positive change. And since we are all gathered in Oslo and Norway, we cannot honor Narges Mohammadi without some real Norwegian music. Tine Ting Helseth is one of our most famous musicians. Please welcome her.
Thank you. I am so honored to play here today. It's extra special for me to perform a song that I wrote myself. It was originally a Christmas song where I tried to describe the dance of the angels. A bit melancholic, but also happy. In Norwegian, it's called Engledans.
What does Narges Mohammadi wish to say to her children, Kiana and Ali, tonight? We asked her this question, and my colleague Aida Khurami is now going to read out parts of her answer.
سالهای نخست زندان با سالهای بعدی تفاوت اساسی دارد.
It was very different from the consecutive years. It's once you raise awareness, once you have the experience, once you know prison life, once you have the faith, once you're motivated, you become more, you learn how to resist. Every day, my daily life is very intensive. And we were told that I tell my cellmates that it's very good to do daily sport, to interact. In November, I was sentenced because I didn't obey prison's rules, and I was banned from receiving any visitors. But I am determined to continue my fight, and I'm sure that the prison walls will not stop me from ensuring that the world hears my voice.
Kiana, you said that you don't think you'll ever see your mother again, but is there anything that gives you a slight hope that you might see her again?
Je suis une personne de nature assez pessimiste.
I am a rather pessimistic person, and as I said, I don't think I'll ever see her again. my mother still have 10 years of her sentence, and by sending letters, by sending the speech we read yesterday with my brother, by doing that, she is prolonging her prison sentence. So she takes more years of prison as she's sending letters and speeches. There are 2 of her cases that are still being handled by the court, and I think we'll see her maybe in 50 years' time. I've seen her when I was 9, that was the last time, and I don't think I'll ever see her again, but it would be nice to see her again. As I said, I've come to terms with the situation. She's my mother, she'll always be in my heart, and whatever happens, the fight for the cause she's leading is worth it, and like she said, women, life, liberty.
Ali, you were more pessimistic. You have a hope that you will see your mother again. Now you're soon going back to Paris after being in this Nobel Peace Prize bubble. Do you think life is going to be different?
Alors, je pensais que ce sera plus différent parce que pour moi, quand ma vie a vraiment changé.
I don't think it will be much different. My life changed when I accepted that the fight we were fighting was worth it. When I was for the guardians of the revolution, they arrested my father in front of my eyes, and I realized that we were not free, we were oppressed, and if we wanted freedom, we had to fight, and that's when my life changed. Regarding the Nobel Prize, it's a great pride, it's a great honor. I can be the voice of my mother, as I said several times, but I can also speak up about what's happening in Iran, and that's extremely important for us, for all the exiles out of Iran. And we have not forgotten our country. We still think about Iran. We want to go back, and when I go back to Paris, I'll still be an activist. And the experience of the Nobel Prize is incredible. When we saw the children yesterday, it was so moving. That's an incredible experience, and I'm really sad that it's not my mother who could make this experience, because she deserved it.
And many might expect you to follow the same path as your mother, but what do you dream and aspire of doing in the future, Kiana?
Déjà, je pense qu'on va pas tout de suite atteindre une
First,
liberté.
I don't believe we'll have freedom and democracy or even women's rights straight away. Of course, the fight will be long and hard, but as my mother said, victory is not easy, but it is certain, and I believe in a free Iran, in a democratic Iran, and for the future, I hope that women in Iran will be able to choose whether
Kiana and Ali, thank you so much for coming here and sharing your story, and I truly, truly hope that the 4 of you one day will be united. Peace cannot be achieved without the brave women and men of Iran. And as we've seen tonight, this fight can be fought from within the prison walls, from the streets of Iran, from exile, and through music and art. Nilufar Nourbakhsh is one of these fighters. She is a young Iranian composer and pianist, and she advocates equality. And as we listen to the sounds of her music piece, Knell, let us hope that this year's Nobel Peace Prize will lead to a more peaceful world.
Thank you.